Today I'm going to take you to one of the most exciting ancient tombs that were found in Jerusalem, both because of the interesting way in which people were buried there and also because one of the most important findings in Jerusalem's history that were found here in this place. So we are now at a site called Katef Hinom. It is a combination of Gey Ben Hinom, the valley which is down here, known as the Valley of Hell. I will put a link on another video I made on this site before, and Katef, which means shoulder, because we are on the side of a mountain that is all the way up there, where today we can find the church of St. Andrew's. So we are in a very small area which is between St. Andrew's and the building that is on the left, which is a site of the heritage of Menachem Begin, which was a prime minister of Israel. And what was found here is a whole series of graves or grave systems that is from the First Temple period. We're talking about graves from around 2,600 years ago. And if you look below, you will see one of these systems. So now it's open, but you need to imagine that in older times there was a roof that closed the entire system. And here, for example, right below the camera, there was an entrance. So from here, people would enter into the cave, get into the central room of the cave, which is where I am standing. And on the side, there were these both plateaus, these pool-like areas, one there and one over there, and another one over there. And the interesting thing is that underneath each one of those plateaus, there is a hole. There is one over here, right? And it's connecting over here, and you can see the size of it. So what was it used for? Why do you need so much space in each one of those burial systems? And this brings us to a very interesting description from the Bible, from the Tanakh, about the burial in these older days. And it says there that when someone dies, it says he was collected to his ancestors, v'ne'esaf el avotav. So what does it mean? And what we know today, and after finding those tombs, we understand that the way they buried back then was in the following way. Right here, you can see this flat area, and in the end of it there are those little niches right underneath. One niche here, one niche here, another one here, another one there, there is another one. Many of these niches that look in the size of a normal head, and this is where the dead bodies would be laid. The head here, and then the body going underneath for the entire area. And after the dead body would be laid here, it would be left alone for 1 year. For 1 year, the cave would be sealed and opened only if there was a need to put another body inside. After a year, the bones of the deceased person would be taken into one of those holes that we saw underneath, which are known as ma'asefot. So here, for example, is one, and then all the bones would be thrown in the same hole. And this is how the same family for generations and generations and generations would be buried in the same hole in the ground, in the same ma'asefah, the same bone collecting place. And this is how, when the Bible tells us when someone was collected to his ancestors, that it was physically really what was going on. The person was collected to his ancestors physically. Now, in the early 80s, late 70s, earlier 80s, when this place was excavated, all the tombs were already robbed by thieves along the centuries, and nothing was found here other than one cave that was very, very unique. And this is that cave, which is right over there. And what happened here was that a part of the roof of the cave collapsed in an earthquake. And in that earthquake, those pieces of rocks that fell down simply buried all the bones that were underneath. And the tomb robbers that came here along the centuries, they thought that it's just, you know, the rocks on the bottom of the cave, and they had no idea that there are 96 skeletons underneath it with everything that was buried with them. And when Gabi Barkai, the archaeologist that excavates here, is doing his work, one of the volunteers, youngsters that came to help with the excavation, that is nagging him quite a lot. He wants to get rid of him, and he sends him to this cave to just clean the floor, you know, and to leave him alone for a while. And when that kid goes down there to the floor, he starts seeing ancient pots that are picking from between the rocks on the bottom of the cave. And he takes two of them, he shows it to Gabi Barkai, that get very, very excited, and immediately they come here and they start very carefully taking those rocks, covering those skeletons, and they start finding here treasures, 96 skeletons and different artifacts that were buried with them. Along those artifacts, two tiny little silver scrolls that were like charms probably, that were buried with the deceased persons. And when very carefully in the laboratories of the Israel Museum they start opening those scrolls, they find that on it, in ancient Hebrew writing, there is a priestly blessing. Now we're talking about a quote from the Bible from 2,600 years ago. This is the oldest biblical text ever to be found, 600 years older than the oldest text we knew until that moment, the Dead Sea Scrolls from Qumran. And this is how this place is one of the most important excavations that happened and took place here in Jerusalem. I am Itay. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share, and I see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day.